In this video, I will be going over the one and two step equation review. Now, I'm not going to go over every single slide. However, I will go over the important parts that I saw students struggling with today in class. So, um, first off, the slide may be numbered differently than when you are at home because I'm hiding some slides. But a few things to remember: you must show your work. So, I have this box right here. It's the math type that you can actually re-enter the equation in. Just takes a few moments. And now notice that we have the minus sign. So underneath it, to undo minusing, we have to add 4.3. Now you've learned in middle school and remembered this year that you have to add 4.3 to both sides. So I just want you to type it like that. Now what happens is the 4.3's cross out here and we're left with R, and then it equals whatever 3.9 plus 4.3. Now this calculator, if you click the calculator setup, it opens up on Desmos. I prefer this over any phone calculator or Google calculator because it's there for you, and I can always see what you entered if you use the Desmos calculator. So the answer is R equals 8.2. And you can check your answer. And you're going to do the same throughout the slides. So one thing that I noticed with the math type, when you are doing 2p equals 18, what I prefer you to do is the line type. You click the line button, you draw the division bar, and then you re-click the math type, because to undo multiplying by 2, we're going to divide by 2. And what happens there is 2 divided by 2 becomes just a 1p. And then 18 divided by 2 is 9. Now, same for this problem. And you can just copy and paste it as soon as you hit the math type. I thought I saw some students do it. It worked out. Now, if you want to change your color, you can, to see what your undo step is if you want to get a little fancy. For this problem, what you want to do is undo dividing by 2. So in this case, we're going to multiply by 2. Whatever we do to the left, we are going to do to the right. And if you notice, I hit this key right here. That is the shift and then number 8. So what happens is the 2 divided by 2 becomes a 1. And we are left with m equals. And then 4 times 2 gets me the 8. And that will be our answer. So you guys did fantastic in class on learning how to type the math, but this is my expectations on the work part. So I'm just going to go through these slides. I'm not going to give you the answer. Everything is coded correctly. But when we get into the two-step equations, that's where you want to kind of look out. We have the original equation. I want you to do that. And then undo the addition, subtraction first, and then multiplying and divide. So notice this asterisk right here. It says most two steps. Sometimes, especially later on in the slides, you will get to undo the fraction first. So just beware that sometimes that happens. Now, when you get to slide 20, you're going to notice that I'm giving you more access to how to type. If you are good with just writing with your mouse, you can do that. I prefer you not to because it's taking me forever to write it. I also prefer you not to use the capital T. It doesn't really make a difference when there's not division, but it's just cleaner and neater if you use the math type button. Now, with here, you want to make sure that you are just showing your undo steps. So minus 6, minus 6. It's the third click, the third row is when you're rewriting the equation. So now I know that my problem becomes 2p equals 6. I have to undo multiplying by dividing, so I got my line bar. And then to undo multiplying by 2, I know I have to divide by 2. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but this is a good representation of what I am expecting of you. And then 6 divided by 2 is just 3. Same with here. I'm now on slide 22. Once again, it's going to be slightly different for you. If you use the regular text tool, notice when I hit the slash key next to the period, it doesn't convert it to be a decimal. I think this personally looks a little messy. So what I would like you to do is hit the math box. And then when you actually type in R and then the slash next to the period, it automatically converts it to a numerator denominator for you. And it just looks neater and more understandable. So then minus 5, because to undo adding, we subtract. So then R divided by 3 is left. And then 12 minus 5 is 7. And then here, if you want to do times 3 on both sides, you can just write it. Kind of doing a times 3 with a mouse is less difficult for some of you. Or you could type it, that's totally fine. The nice thing about the 3 divided by 3, it becomes a 1. So we're left with just R equals 21. So you can write R equals 21, or you can just write 21. So those are my expectations moving forward. So here I kind of give you a hint, because this is what happens sometimes. So when you click the math type, you want to hit the division key first, because then that will let you put in more than 2 terms, or more than 1 term rather, equals negative 3. Now notice this G plus 11 is blocked, okay? You can't get to the numerator because of the denominator. So to undo dividing by 8, we're going to multiply by 8. Multiply by 8. Because whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Now I want you to look closely in this video. If you notice, I have an 8 now in the numerator, and it becomes a 1 total because 8 divided by 8 becomes 1. So notice I'm not doing anything with the G plus 11. It's kind of protected. In class, when we really get to these problems, you'll see me maybe even putting them in parentheses to ensure that you know not to touch them. And then that equals negative 24. And then it becomes just a 1 step where I have to minus 11 on both sides. And then G equals negative 35. So that's my expectations for those types of problems. So hopefully this video has helped and will help you complete the slides if you are struggling.